These are the ones I put.
All right, so stay on there and see if y'all can hear us. All right. We're on live right now.
Okay.
Do a test.
Here we go again. It says.
Let's do a testing.
I got a date tonight.
You do?
Angie!
Testing. Two.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my
you
gosh,
can.
they hear us.
You got it.
Y'all hear?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Angie, you got a date tonight?
Yes, we can hear it.
All right, y'all. Well, we're back.
Yay.
Thankfully, and we have our phones this time,
Yeah.
right? For you, Andrea, do you have your phone just in case something goes wrong?
$174, and I didn't even look at it.
No, I just put mine over there.
Yes, we can hear you now, says Misty Alger.
Woo!
All right. Hit the music.
Y'all, we sat here for an hour and we covered so many topics and we had such good conversation.
Talking about
Every
a morning.
A morning.
We spoke about our week. We talked about family. Oh, it's Andrea's birthday, everybody. Happy birthday.
She had a deep story, but
Well, you know what? 40. Here we go. I'm going to do a quick rundown on what I said. So,
girl.
40 years. Here's what it is. I'm finally, after 40 years, feeling like I can live the way I want to live. A lot of my life was living the way others wanted me to live. And I don't have to do that anymore. And I'm so thankful and I'm blessed for the 30 years I have had. Or 40 years. 40 years. I'm 40.
30.
I could say
40.
I thought you were 30.
I mean, whatever.
Let's own
Welcome,
it.
Cash.
What? Hey, they teach us to act in wrestling.
You got the wisdom of a 40-year-old, but you got the looks of a 30-year-old.
Thank you. Oh,
Mhm.
Taylor. Y'all are so
You
sweet.
got such a way of words. You got such a way.
So guys, welcome. Yeah, it's been a morning, but hey, you know what? It is what it is. We did one full episode for you guys. And almost, but we're gonna pick
Alex says, happy birthday, Andrea. Miss you.
Oh, I miss you guys, Alex. I hope you and your dad and son are enjoying the trip there where you all are at.
We needed you this morning, Alex.
God's got us,
It was
Alex.
alright.
You enjoy
Yes,
yourself.
truly.
We're managing.
As I'm sipping my coffee.
Yeah, I had to go get our energy
I've
drink.
lost my coffee.
Wow. Yeah.
You don't know what you got till it's gone. Oh, Alex. But anyway, what did we fix anyway? Like, how did y'all fix it?
You know, God fixed it.
God got it under control.
Because-
You just take the wheel, and he did.
Yes.
He did. So look, guys, we have Cash, we have Taylor, we have Chess. Happy Saturday. It's been a great Saturday here at the house. Of course, you know what we were talking about this morning. We were in a deep conversation, and obviously it just wasn't meant to go live on it. So it is what it is. However, we're going to pick right up where we were at because we have a Saturday out there that we gotta get out there and do life.
Right.
So we are going to pick up on the topic of family and how important family is.
Yes.
So
and if I can touch on that real quick, I was going to say before we found out, family is very important. And like I said, I hate to say it, and that's one of them stories I'll get in depth with later when we do my story or whatever.
yes.
Family's important because I come from a broken family. My mother and father, like I said, yes, they provided. I never was without, but there was never the love of watching those two. They were always fighting, carrying on addiction, ruled them. And honestly, if family would have been together and, you know, all that, and I probably would have had different experiences in life. But at the same time, it's brought me to where I need to be at. And now my family's coming back together. I'm going to dinners with my father. I'm going to dinners with my mother.
That's
I'm getting
beautiful.
connected. And like I said, I had to go through trials and tribulations to get where I'm at today. So
Yeah.
like I said, sometimes you got to push through these things, but remember, family is number one.
Yeah, that's right. And Cash, I mean, one of the important things, it's a couple important things that we were talking about earlier that I think we do need to highlight on our podcast this morning. One of the things is your recovery, how far you are into recovery and the substances that you are overcoming.
Yeah.
Overcoming.
And like I said, we touched on, of course, they probably didn't hear, but like I said, mine is a strange DOC. It's air duster, inhalant abuse, and of course, a little alcohol. Like I said, just it it's a strange DOC. People don't understand it. They don't understand the high that comes with it and all that. And like I said, I don't want to trigger nobody, but like I said, there's been mornings where like I needed it so bad that I'd be sitting in -2-degree weather or 10-degree weather, sitting in my car waiting for the Walmart to open at 6 so I could go in and steal a can. And when I say steal, you're like, well, don't you have money? No, because I'd done sent my account to -500. That's how much of a grip addiction can have on you as a person.
Absolutely.
And I had never once gave it to God. I went from laughing at people smoking and all that on the street saying, how could they get to that while I'm walking with my beautiful second fiance? And not even 6 months later, I'm on the same position, sitting in my car with a flat tire and, no gas in my car. And I'm sitting there and I said, I'm freezing. I said, I'm cold. I had lost weight. I looked awful.
Mhm.
Quit wrestling, got thrown out of the wrestling company I was working for at the time. And, some woman walked up to me randomly and said, honey, you look cold. She said, "Why don't you go?" I had prayed. I think it was 5:45. I remember the exact time, and I was sitting in the Timberville parking lot, cold and out of gas. And I said, "God, please give me a sign. Show me something that I need to go home." And some woman walked up. She says, "Honey, I've been watching you from the 7-Eleven." She goes, "I work over there." She come out for a little smoke break, and she come and she said, "Let me put some gas in your car, and why don't you go on home? I'm not going to call the law. I know what you're doing." My DOC, she
Yeah.
saw me over the
Mhm.
wheel, and I went straight home. But like I said, mom talked to me, and that was the first time I went to rehab. Like I said, I have a pretty in-depth, long story. A lot of people don't know what I've been through in the past 5 years, but thanks for having me on. And
Absolutely. We are so
Yeah.
glad to have you. I'm a follower of yours on Facebook.
Right.
Like we had, went over. I definitely keep up with your story. You inspire me. You are, even though you're, how many days into it?
I think I'm sitting at 205.
And
I did 205.
205 days.
205.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Feel that. Feel that.
Look at
Yes.
them goosebumps.
Because that is amazing. I mean, there's a lot of people out there right now who listen to us who are like, I want to make it to that number so bad. What would you say to that person?
Let me just put it like this. I haven't been this sober since I was 13 years old.
Wow.
Wow.
It's like I said, I've
I didn't
either
know that.
drinking or using the inhalants or whatever. But what I would say is you can do it. You can do anything you put your mind to. It's going to be hard the first 30 days. Let me tell you, it's the worst thing. And don't be afraid to reach out, text somebody, call somebody,
Mhm.
or even go to rehab. It's not what these people make it. Oh, it's all this, it's awful, all this. No, it's there to save your life. And once you get through them trials, guys, you wake up every day and you thank the Lord for waking you up another day, sober, healthy, and be able to spread the word, not just through myself, but once I tell others, they can spread the word too. It's like an infection.
That's
and,
amazing.
and I love
That's
it.
amazing, Cash. We are so
Yeah.
blessed to have you at our table this morning. So thank you
Yeah.
for joining us.
Absolutely.
And we have Taylor this morning too. Taylor, let's go over your week. I know Leah, this has been a week for you.
It has. Well, and so last week I was in Baltimore at an all-week training, like 40 hours the whole week. So it was a lot, but I learned so much. And it was all focused around trauma and addiction and, the science behind it and the impacts of it and all these things. And so that's what kind of led me, more and more. I've been seeing, I want to help. It has to be the whole family. Because I used to
Right.
think it was, the youth. I wanted to stop the cycle before it happened. And then I see, well, if to help the youth, you have to help the parents.
Mhm.
Because if parents are still making the same choices and decisions, living the same way, so now I'm thinking we got to work with the whole family. So with that, this week has been busy because I'm trying to kind of shift what I'm doing to be more inclusive of the family. Get ready because the next Monday I start my master's program.
Which is
Woo!
amazing. Yes,
It's
yes.
gonna be a
This
lot.
we've been talking about
Wonder
this.
Woman over here.
And I think this is going to be a great thing, not only for Taylor, but the community. I'm like rooting for her big time on this because this is huge. We need this.
Big.
And not only like people are out there right now are looking like age and just like just complex of life in general. But look how you are making the time
Right.
to put what is in your gut to follow.
To do it.
To do it. You just got to do it. And like I told you earlier, your bachelor's, that was 4 years of lockdown. And we know
Right.
that.
Yeah.
This is 2 years. of
To
just
do
like,
it.
so this is going to go by. And I feel like, and like I told you, I want to go for mine too eventually.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe it's your time first and then flip flop
can
or
tag
something,
team a
tag
little
team it,
bit,
because
yes.
I am a little nervous to just go head first. When I feel like there's just so much community need right
There
now.
is. Yeah.
And it's a lot of time.
And that's been my worry because isn't it crazy? So, I want to get my master's so that I have more knowledge and background and experience to be able to help more. But I almost feel selfish because I'm like, well, I'm taking this time and I have to take Mondays off. So that's going to pull me. I mean, I say it's going to pull me back from the community a little bit. I know that it won't, but there have been moments where I'm like, I'm going to have to give something up. I'm going to have to do something less in order to take this on.
Well, in reality, you will.
But talking about giving stuff up during this Lenten season.
And that's the other one that I wanted to talk about.
What I wanted to say though is, but what you're truly giving up is to empower you to be able to give back then some.
Right.
So I'm proud of you. Go do this. The community we will manage.
Yes.
With you
Yeah.
missing that one day from us, even though
Yes.
you're just so amazing. But God's doing great work through her.
Yeah.
I can testify to that. But yeah, go give it up so that you can give back more. And it's not selfish, right? Like that's what we tell ourselves is, we can't be selfish. Sharing is caring. Share this, share that. But in reality, I'm learning, nah, self-love is selfish. I have to first love me to pour into me what I need so that I can pour out what others need.
Old girls going to the gym and getting my nails done as much as possible.
Yeah,
I'm
girl.
telling you, that's just two things I got to do, and getting yourself, to yourself sometimes with God.
You gotta do
It's
it.
just things you gotta do.
Well, and to share the way that I was called, because I always knew I wanted to go back to school. Like I knew that I needed to do that, but I'm like, where's the time? So I am, and I've shared with I think Andrea, but so my goal, my like end all be all goal in life is I want to start my own school.
Oh, wow.
And I want to do it for kids that are living, with trauma, who, are being expelled from the school system, who are struggling. They've got those behaviors. And I want it to be, they can live there. There's a farm. We're giving back to the community. We're learning life skills, all those things. But I'm looking into it, like to research it in order for your school to be accredited. So for the kid to graduate and actually get that diploma, the director has to have a master's.
Absolutely.
And as I
you
was-
have to be qualified,
Yes.
girl.
And as I was looking
Just
at that,
don't be off the
God,
street.
yes, and God was like, do it. Do
Yeah.
it right now. And I'm
You
like,
gotta
do it.
what time? And he was like, do it.
And down
So
the
I went
street
and
on the
applied.
left, we're going to have our male and female recovery homes. I mean, Page County's going to grow. We're going to
yes.
flourish. And God is
Yes.
putting it in line. And he's getting us all ready
Yes.
and
Yes.
training for his work.
And he's bringing these
Yes.
soldiers to the front line.
That's
right,
right,
That's
honey.
us
That's
right
right.
here,
So
like I
kudos to you,
said.
girl.
Yes.
Tess, how about your week? How have you been?
Really great. I mean, I had a couple days that were down, but you got to have those days to have great days. So they're behind me
Facts.
now. I've really got to do 2 mama duties that just like brought me so much joy. My girls are my everything, and for so long, I was really just not of good name. And it's great to see how God can really restore everything that you can be of good name again if you dedicate your life to Him.
Yeah,
So
can.
I'm proud to announce today is my 1 year, 6 month clean and
Yes.
sober. Yes.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Double take.
And I am telling you, it is not me on my own who did that. It is simply God. But I will not forget 1 year, 6 months ago when I hit my darkest, my lowest, my most empty space, and all alone. But I wasn't alone. God was with me.
There.
There
Yep.
he was.
He
Every
was
step of the
there
way.
through it all. And when I just simply said, God, I give up. I cannot do this. I am done. I am miserable. Help me. He helped me.
Yeah.
He carried me through.
It comes right on in.
Yep.
It?
Yep.
It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
He'll never abandon you.
No, he will not.
I
know
love
he
hearing
won't.
the stories like this. On my Facebook news feed yesterday, I seen one of the girls, locals here. She finally got her own apartment, and she has struggled with addiction for many years. And just seeing that, man, it's like, gosh, I just want to throw her a big house shower. Like,
Wow.
she's posting her key on there, and like, yeah,
Yes.
I'm like, man, that's so awesome. Like, how great it is to come from that place to where you are right now. It's amazing. I'm so
Right.
proud of
And
all
it
of us.
is, and God has brought people into my life that I just never would have known, and I love all of you guys, and I'm just so excited to what the future is gonna
I
bring,
know.
and
I
not
love
just
it.
for me, but for my babies.
I know.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
we were talking about, families this morning, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Yeah,
I remember
family's
that.
big. In
today
in the
Yes.
school in the future, you know how her children can come and help the children there and maybe even play a huge role.
Right. Well, and to
Yes.
have the families, that are healing and working their own journey, really, to then come back and work at the school or be a part of the school and be a part of their child's education.
Yes.
You
It's
know,
amazing.
it is. And
It's
I think it was
amazing.
amazing too. So I messaged Andrea yesterday, actually like a month ago, saying I want to do something around the family. I
Mhm.
want us to start talking about these things. And I messaged her yesterday and I'm like, do you think that this is too much? Because talking about family stuff is hard. It is
Very.
heavy. We want to be loyal to our families. We don't want to talk about anything that's supposed to be in the shadows, but we also want to, there's shame and guilt. And it's just a heavy topic.
It is.
But then we show up this morning and Andrea's parents are here, her
Mm.
daughter's here, her baby grand is here. You know?
That said, Ma.
Yeah.
Yeah, you was really excited about that.
My granddaughter just out of nowhere goes, "Ma." I'm like, "What?"
Yes.
She did
And Andrea's daughter's like, she's 2 months old. She's
Yeah.
not.
I'm like, "She's a trooper. She's gonna win. She's so smart."
If
What do you
I,
mean?
if I yell Ma now, I get something thrown at my head. But everybody thinks that it was cute, but that me, I get something thrown at my
She's
head.
amazing. Yeah, the topic is very intense. I mean, especially when you have family who is still healing. And I'm me personally, that's what mine is. I mean, we're still
Yeah.
healing after 4 years
Yes.
of me being sober myself. We're still healing. Will we ever get to that fully healed place?
Mm.
That's what I pray for.
Yes. But
And I
this is
want that.
something I learned this past week. That normal, what was before, will never be again.
Yeah, I don't think it'll ever be again.
it's a
I
new
do know
normal.
that, but it is a new normal, and I want that new
Yes.
normal so bad.
Yes.
I crave
Yes.
that. I desire that. And this morning, them coming here was beautiful.
That was.
I
And they
love that
brought
for
me a
you.
cake,
Yeah.
Yes.
It was
and
delicious.
yes, and they sing. That right there is a step towards like everything that we've been praying. And I know
Yeah.
I say we because it's a lot of members of the community that's been praying
Yeah.
for this reunion,
And
Yes.
a true
yes,
reunion
yes.
of happiness.
And I think
So,
you spoke to that so well, because I think what people, if anyone's watching right now, whether you've been in your own recovery or you're in active addiction or you are a family member, there's that impact some way no matter what.
Mm.
And I think, when we start to see, I've seen with families, it's a spectrum, right? We've got the families that, I mean, and we don't understand it. There's no rule book to addiction. There's no
right.
rule book to how it's going to hit you or the things you're going to have to go through. And we have families that enable, who are, let me bail them out no matter what. Let me try to sweep this under the rug so the community
Sure.
doesn't find out about it.
Yes.
Let me try to, make sure they have everything they need or try to save them. That doesn't work. That actually hurts more, right?
Yeah.
And then we have the families that say, this is your problem. This is not our problem. You need to figure out tough love. Let me cut you off, all those things. And, we can cut off from finances. We can cut off from bailing people out, but we can't cut them off from love.
Mm.
No, that's
And
right.
that hurts so much more. So then how do we learn as families to step into recovery with our family members? How do we learn to heal from the traumas that this caused us as a unit? Because no individual, it's not just your thing. We are a unit. We are a system.
But it can only be done, I guess, through faith, hope, and love, because who's our ultimate healer?
Yeah.
Well,
Who can
God.
restore it all?
That's
Who
right.
knew
Jesus.
before we were born that we were going to be here right now?
Right.
And you said it perfect in Bible study this morning too. Like open communication, like just really being able to openly talk about it is a huge deal. And when family isn't ready to actually talk about things, that puts a huge burden on the
Right.
family.
Well, can
Right.
I share with you guys this? So 18 months ago, exactly, my face wound up on the front page of all sorts of the sheriff's office blasted my mugshot.
Oh, I recall
Okay.
that. I recall
Mm.
this like it was yesterday. I remember your face coming on my newsfeed.
Mhm.
Do you remember?
Mhm.
It
I
was
do.
very clear. I
do.
I remember seeing
How
this.
long ago was this?
September.
It was
I remember
September
seeing
the
this
8th of
beautiful
2023.
soul on my
Thank
Right.
and you were just in active addiction.
But I remember afterwards, after I came out of jail and endured that time, I remember having the first conversation with my mother, with my family again, about this. What to me was this most shameful, most embarrassing, most regrettable day of my life. And I remember my mom sharing with me, and Nina also saying, there was a moment there that we as your family had to say something back to Page County.
Mhm.
So the question is, how do we handle this? And they collectively, individually, but collectively had the same thought. This is not who she is. This is something she went through.
Right.
And we're going to support my sister because they know me better than anybody knows me. I grew up with them,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so, like, and I felt that that was extremely helpful, but also really, what a sweet thing to do
I think it's
because
bold.
Yeah.
it
I think
was.
it's
So
bold.
let me ask you, Francesca. So going through that and having your family stand up in that way, what impact did that have on you in your recovery? As opposed if they just said, again, this is your problem. You did this to our family. How did that impact you?
You know, in such a way that I just felt so much appreciation because I had the right kind of support. You know, my family stepped in with my daughters when I wasn't there because I was removed. I was put in big girl timeout and I was removed from them. But how important it is to have compassionate people to say, we love her no matter what. And we're going to be here for her by watching what she chooses to do.
Mm.
And so they not only respected me, but they prayed for me in the secrecy of their homes. And then to know that there was hope was really great for me because I knew God was doing this. It wasn't what I had done.
Right.
And that was important.
And it helps you to know that the things, especially my daughters, right? The one thing, because I've seen so many mothers in the jail, that's their big, we talked about this. That's the biggest struggle is I'm not there for my children, I'm not there. But to have that family that stepped up and knew that that was taken care of, like, that's a support too. Like that, not, I'm gonna say it's not a burden, right? But like that worry of, are
Well,
they
that's
going
a
to be
huge
okay?
support. I know
Yes.
in my case that is one huge thing that my family did. They stepped in and they took care of both of my daughters, my ex-husband, and both my parents. I mean, they stepped in and played the role when I wasn't here.
Yeah.
And they did it for many years.
And family, like I said, my family stepped in every time I was in jail. My mom, my aunt, all that come looking for me when I'd go sit on parking lots and all that.
Yeah,
I mean,
the
you
stress
yeah.
of them, what they went through.
I mean, it put them through a lot looking for me and coming getting me out of jail and all that. But like I said, it's even though it was bad times, the bad times are drawing us closer together,
Right.
and
Mhm.
it's drawing us closer to God. And like I said, again,
And that's good that you guys have that you're recognizing that you guys are drawing closer. I think that's what's happening or going to happen eventually with my family. I feel like if we can get to that place where we can, kind of build
Right.
closer, you know.
But we can't get to that place, right? It's God going and
God,
doing his work
yes,
in them and in
yes.
us. And as long
It's
as
time. It's time too. I mean, I did a lot. I did a lot. I put them through a lot. And I recognize that. I
Right.
don't I'll never forget my oldest daughter when she looked at me and said, when the day I got my girls back, um, and I came out of court and I called to go pick them up. And my oldest daughter said, "You think I'm just gonna get in a vehicle with you now, don't you? You think I'm just coming back to you now?" And I'm just like, "Well, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I just got you back." Yeah.
Right.
And she was like, "No, that's not the way it works. We're
Yeah.
not coming back."
It's that trust. That
So
trust is so hard.
that right there, it hit me so hard. And I wasn't in my mind mentally. In my mind mentally, my mental was get sober for 6 months, get my girls back. That was all it was.
Yeah.
I got the girls back. But I was like, as soon as I hung up the phone, I thought, well, why keep fighting?
Right.
So I went and relapsed. So again,
um,
there I go.
And-
Well, and that speaks, I want to speak to the other end of that of being the family member. Because I remember when my mom finally had gone to rehab and she was sober and she was in recovery, because of the impact on me and that fear, just the deep fear of her going back and all the time she had lied to me and told me that she was gonna do this thing and
You
she did
lost the
this thing.
trust.
I did, and I would and my family included, like, I would look in her eyes and be like, "Is she using? Is she using?" And then I'd ask her, "Are you're not using? Are you?" And that wasn't helpful to her at
Right.
all.
No.
That was her, but I had to like or feeling like I remember being like, I wanna go out with my friends, but I know if I leave her, she might drink. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna stay here and be with her, feeling like it was my burden and my responsibility to keep her sober. And even, in my own journey and healing, I remember I had truly my come to Jesus meeting because I was drinking. I was going down that path and I saw you can go this way or this way. And instead of saying, okay, I'm going to keep drinking, I said, well, I'm going to go save the world. So I dove into codependence. Like, I need to save
Don't
everybody.
I think we all kinda go through
Yes.
I think that's yeah, that's kinda like what
Yes.
I'm kinda going through now, kinda, diving into learning about myself because, you take on, you have taken on so much responsibility over the years of, like, trying to help others.
Yeah.
You gotta come to a place where it's like, "Whoa, you gotta turn that off and know that you cannot save the
Yeah.
world.
Your
You're
identity
not the
can't be that.
savior, okay?
No.
Jesus Christ is
That's
our
right,
savior.
Yep, there
girlfriend.
So
you
when you
go.
get to that
Yep,
point,
I've heard
and
that.
I learned that over the years too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you wanna
So
Wow.
Misty, yeah, just Alex just says, "You guys got this. Sounds great. Picture's good." Misty said from earlier where there was no sound, she said, "It looks like a very in-depth conversation, but it's okay. So glad you got it going. Laughing along with y'all. I tried calling you, so
She
disregard
did.
the text and calls for
She
me."
did.
Then Troy comes on and says, "Happy birthday, Andrea."
Oh, thank you.
And then Misty says, "People are so quick to judge when it's juicy gossip, but they don't always do the same when it's good news. Humans are
Mm.
so unkind, but you just never know when it will be your family."
That is
Yes,
right.
amen,
Oh,
That is
sister.
wow.
right. That
That's
Amen,
deep.
hits.
amen,
Thank
That
you,
amen.
Misty.
hits.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's
It definitely hits.
very
Yeah.
wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that right there kind of brings back a memory of me. When I was married all those years, and I remember a cousin of mine coming to the house and needing money and begging for money, and he was on harder drugs then. And I remember looking at him and saying, "What is wrong with you? Like, look at you.
Mm.
You're, look how bad you
Get
are.
through this, get
Get
over it.
yeah." And I
Yeah.
Yeah.
ran him off, and into the house I went, probably drinking my wine, like, but the Lord
Yeah.
made me eat those words years later.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is true. Like you don't know until it hits you and hits your family. And boy, what a humbling experience it is when it happens.
Yeah.
And if you don't mind me saying, like I said, Andrea, you just really touched on a point where, like, when I was living in Harrisonburg and I was with my second fiance, I was living it big, had money, had 3 cars,
Mhm.
we was going to breweries and partying all the time and all that. And you'd have to walk by this one section of town. It wasn't so great.
I
You
know
had
exactly
homeless
what you're talking about. Go ahead.
ABC Mart, yeah,
Yeah, uh-huh.
AB Plus Mart, whatever it's called,
Uh-huh.
and they look rough and smoking whatever, dude. And I pointed and I looked at you, I said, "How do people get like that?" I said, "That's ridiculous." I said, "He could help himself." Not 6 months later, Ashley had left me because I was going through some things trying to get on the Harrisonburg Police Department and took some things out on her. And I in 6 months, I lost my townhouse,
There you go.
all that. I was setting my mom had to come pick me up with all my stuff and all that. I was in and out of different rehabs.
It's in a blink of an eye, isn't it?
And
It can life can change in the blink of an eye.
So I
Mhm.
got humbled.
There
I
you
got
go.
humbled, and I feel like that gives me a chance to tell my story one day.
Yes, and you're going
Testimony,
to.
sorry.
I can't help.
Absolutely.
I
And
can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said it. You said it because, I have to humbly admit too, I was a functioning substance abuser
Mm.
for the last 24 years of my life. The reality is the last 4 is when I probably fell into addiction before I knew it. Okay. But for 24 years, I walked around going pride,
Mhm.
ego,
Oh, boy, yeah,
and
I
I
know about
went,
that.
I don't have a problem because I'm not shooting it up like that guy is. That
Mhm.
guy's got a
Could
problem.
always be worse.
Look
right?
at that girl. And I'm not actually saying this publicly, but I'm thinking this in my mind, and God knows her heart. And I'm like, look at that girl. She doesn't have her kids. How can you not have your kids?
Oh,
I'm
Yep.
using my substance, but I'm going to work. I use my substance, but I give them baths. I brush their teeth. I make a meal, so I'm not like her. And then all along to be
comparison.
sitting here on this side, God will humble you when you get too prideful.
Mhm.
So, we have to watch that behavior, guys. And you're right. You never know when it's going to happen in your own family. So be kind, be compassionate, because people are struggling and you don't know they're struggling.
Mm.
That is just
Right.
perfectly worded.
Wow.
That was the spirit
Brother
right
Judge,
there,
you coulda
girl.
put
You
that
go,
better.
girl.
Thank you,
Yes.
Lord.
Go,
Yes.
girl.
Them goosebumps
Yes.
again. Them
Yes.
goosebumps again.
Yeah.
I'm
Exactly.
telling you.
That was awesome.
Exactly.
Wow.
So then the last thing I'm going to say on that is for family members that are watching or anyone that shares this with their family members, know that you have been impacted too, that you have had your own trauma too. And as I said before, when we were muted the whole time, vicarious trauma is a real thing. And so I told the example. So when 9/11 happened, there were people in California who had PTSD symptoms and experienced greater trauma than those that were even there at ground zero.
That's amazing
That's
that
crazy.
was found.
It's wild. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So when you hear someone's trauma story or you see someone going through trauma or anything, that traumatizes you too. So just, for the families that don't know what to do, they feel like it's breaking them down. They're doing everything trying to help their family member, like come to us and reach out, because recovery, we talk about recovery and stories, but that's a journey for you to walk to, and there's a journey there for you as well.
Yeah, and in particular, to people who might not even have family. I know there is some people out there who have lost their family, to death
Yeah.
or to incarceration or whatever the case may be. They don't have anyone to reach out to
Mhm.
as far as family goes. So they're going couch to couch, or they might be going to tent or camper to camper at this point, and they don't have a place to go. So you as well can reach out to us for help, and we have resources lined up. We can try to get you the help that you need to get off of these mind altering substances to try to get you straight and squared away.
And can I throw in there too, guys? So we live in a world that is full of dysfunction, and trauma is pretty much anything that just makes you feel unsafe or keeps you stuck in some sort of shape or form. So there are all levels of this. But the reality is what I learned, because I was recently found that I had, well, here's what the doctor told me. You have PTSD, girl, on steroids.
Oh.
Like,
Mm.
and so that's very natural for someone who suffers like that without treatment to turn to substance.
Yes.
So it really made me become a little more compassionate with myself, because here's the reality. I was suffering, I was hurt, and I found a solution. Granted, it was not the best solution, and I'm sorry that I had ever hurt my family. However, I at least had the courage to find a solution. Might have not been the right one. So if anybody out there that watches that says, "Hey, I like these guys. I love these guys. I don't suffer from substance abuse." I just want to caution you that if you have trauma, talk to somebody about it. Find a counselor, because as you might have your glass of wine in the evenings or whatever, it's a slippery slope of what could be developing that you're
Yes.
unaware is happening. It's a reason they're called spirits. Alcohol is spirits, and it's tricky. So I just wanted to throw that out there. If you're not an addict, not in recovery, but you have trauma, talk to somebody, heal that part of you so that you don't start numbing or turning to something that makes that pain more manageable.
And I'm so glad that you brought that out, because like for myself, the alcohol started when I was like 12 and 13 years old with the drinking. And so I called it okay that it was wine
Mhm.
every night.
Right.
Every single night I had wine for, when I guess probably, I don't know, probably 21 years old and up, I would just say, but it was a nightly occasion of wine. So, and then when I would go out with friends or whatever, the margaritas wouldn't just be one, it would be
Mhm.
several. And I would have to get myself so intoxicated until I would pass out. So those types of behavior is signs of you might have a problem. Okay. And it's really hard to come to terms with that, but that could be a problem. So, this is the way I tell people, if you think you may have a problem, a stronghold, it could be to drinking, wine, smoking, your phone, your TV, whatever the case may be. Take it away for 2 full weeks. If you can go for 14 days to put this whatever it is down, and you don't have a problem after 14 days, then you don't have a problem.
Hey, why don't we challenge them to 40 days?
Well, there you go.
That
Let's
way
do
for
Lent.
those
Let's
that
do
are
Lent
for
together.
those that are actively
That's a good idea. We was
participating
talking
in
about
Lent.
this.
Yes.
Okay, Lent is a 40-day journey where you're going to be drawing nearer to
We're
God.
going to Easter, so we're down a little bit on days, but let's go to Easter together
That's
from
okay.
today on up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good challenge.
Yes.
Mhm.
And, you
I
know,
like that.
give almsgiving, recognize you're part of the human race, and give something as little or as grand as you can to somebody in need. Show compassion to your fellow mankind. Go into praying, talk to God. I, double dog dare you to just go and talk,
Just
pray.
do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, just do it.
And
Just
then
do it.
third and not least of all, fast. Give up something that you could give more time to God in replacement of, and see what happens in your life.
Ooh,
I think that's
I like that. That's
wonderful.
a good challenge.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It
Wow,
is.
here
It's
we
like,
go.
mhm.
That's
Do you
awesome.
accept?
Do you accept?
So just go ahead and do it again. What?
Just do it.
There we go.
A little bit of that
All
wrestling part.
right, guys. What a great time at the table. So let's go over some things that are coming up in the Valley that you might want to come out for. So we have Celebrate Recovery on Monday nights. That's at 6 p.m. on Main Street Baptist. Free Indeed Tuesday nights. That's at 6:30 on Newport Road. 23 West Main AA, and that's at noon every day on Main Street in Luray. Rec Center, shout out to Audrey. If you would like to donate to his cause, go to Cash App, Living Legacy Luray. First Steps to Freedom, that is a Thursday night program, and that's at 3:30 Shen Elk Plaza at 7 o'clock. And we have another Thursday night program, New Life Recovery at Grace Covenant in Harrisonburg. That starts at 6:30. If you have another program that you would like for us to mention on our program, then just send it to me on Messenger, and I will be gladly to announce it. We have Valleys Rise Above Cash App. So if you want to donate to our cause, we are trying to raise up money to put another bathroom here at Jean's house, the female house here in Stanley. And we're also trying to raise money for our nonprofit. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. And Saturday mornings here at the female home, we do breakfast. That's at 8:30 in the morning. If you would like to volunteer to come out and make breakfast for people in recovery or anyone that comes out. I mean, you don't have to be in recovery. You can be just someone who just wants to come out and join us. You're more than welcome to come. That is at 8:30. Then we do Bible study and we come down for podcasts. So that's just kind of like a community thing that we just started probably a month ago. And it's been pretty cool, maybe over a month ago. So yeah, we've been enjoying it. Yeah. So what else do we have going on?
So I talked to Brother Andy Seastrom the other day, okay, and he's really excited, working diligently for the Shenandoah Valley Jubilee, guys. This is great for the whole family. This is great if you're single. Come celebrate.
Hey.
So
This is next week.
yes,
next week, guys.
So
Oh.
March 14th through the 15th. 9 a.m. there's a service, and at 6:30 p.m. there's a service. It's located at 4567 U.S. Highway 340 in Luray. The Promised Land will be singing Friday night. The Hensley family will be singing Saturday night. So that's coming. Also in June, coming is going to be the March for Jesus. So
Ooh.
everybody, subscribe to the channel. If there's any additional information you want to give us, Andrea's happy to pass it along.
Yay.
A lot of things going
Yes.
on in the valley towards
Yes, there
recovery.
are.
And
Yes.
that's something
Yes,
I
there
love
are.
seeing.
We
that-
have a lot more resources than what we had 5 years ago.
it-
when-
it's
Yes.
crazy
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
much it's grown.
So we have a community now that is striving and thriving.
Right.
And I
Yes.
love it.
Stronger
I
than
love
ever.
Yeah.
That's what God wants us to do, right? Not
Yes.
just
Yeah.
survive.
He
wants us
he
to
doesn't want
thrive.
us to be in rooms getting high and doing all. He wants us to go out and thrive. He doesn't want us to be in barely making it. He wants us to go for our bachelor's degrees and our master's degrees and go out here and make something and do something because we're made for success. I mean, God wants us to. What's the verse, the Bible verse? What does God want us to do? He what's one of the promises? Y'all
to
help
prosper
me.
us.
There it is.
To prosper us.
Yeah.
Plans not to harm us.
Yeah. He
I-
don't want to harm us. He wants to prosper us.
should I share these couple scriptures with the group
Yeah,
before we leave?
definitely.
Yeah, before we roll out,
Okay,
let's
so
do
this
that.
was shared with me and it was a blessing, and I'd like to share it with you guys. but he chose us, right? And some of us have very hard childhoods
Okay.
for a purpose. All right. So the enemy knew who you were before you did. In Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5, it says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations." The enemy saw your potential early and tried to break you before you were even known who you were. Childhood trauma, rejection, and pain, those were attacks designed to stop you from stepping into your divine calling.
Hmm.
You were set apart from a young age. John 15:19 says, "If you belong to the world, it would love you as its own. As it is, you do not belong to the world, but I have chosen you out of the world." Chosen ones often feel like outsiders in their own families. You never fit in, and that's because you were never meant to. Your purpose is different. Your family was a battleground for generational curses. In Exodus 25, "I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, punishing the children for the sin of the parents of the third and fourth generation of those who hate me." Many chosen ones are born into broken, toxic, or dysfunctional families because they were sent to break generational curses. Your struggle wasn't random, it was spiritual.
Wow.
So there's
I have chills right now.
it's amazing when you said that.
Ooh,
It
that's
made me
good.
it hit me because a lot of times when people are doing certain things, behaving certain ways, we look at them like, "What's wrong with you?" Right? And we're just now starting to change the narrative to say, "Well, what happened to you?"
Yes.
But taking that even further, just on this point, to say, "What happened for you?" What things did you go through to teach you the lessons that you would not have learned otherwise, that geared you up and gave you that armor, that, that fight to say, "I'm gonna go and change these things in the world."
Yes.
And you wouldn't have that if you didn't go through
I
that
couldn't
Yeah.
have said that
process.
better myself, Taylor.
Yeah.
That's literally how I feel about it. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I've been through things, and like I said, I'll be back to share my testimony and story on another one. But you got to go through trials to get closer to God. And like I said, I wouldn't be who I am today if I wouldn't have changed what I was going through 5 years ago, and I was still that person. I'm going to tell you right now, I might have been 6 feet under.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's what my
Yeah.
family was afraid of. And I'm here to tell you, the devil almost had me. But
Yep.
God rescued me, he strengthened me, and I've broken those chains, not me, but God through me. So I'm very honored, and I will pray that I stay vigilant in this effort, because what God has in store for me, I can't even imagine, and the best is yet to come.
Oh, yeah, that's
We're
right.
just getting started,
We
baby.
are
Right.
just getting started. And one of the things, but I want to end with this. Over the weekend, Joyce Meyer, y'all know my favorite person to listen to right now on YouTube. She was telling, if you haven't heard her story, please go onto her YouTube and listen to her story. She has such an amazing story from her childhood growing up, being, sexually abused by her own father, and her mom knowing it and just allowed it to happen, and she, as an adult, she had bitterness and cold and like just disliked them so much and was like, I have this rage inside me and I don't want nothing to do with them. And the Lord set her down and said, "But they're your parents. I want you to take care of them." And she said, "No, why, Lord?" And he said, "Because they gave you life.
Wow.
I gave you life, but they had you."
Yeah.
So that moment humbled her. She went out, she bought them a home. She took care of them till their dying day, and they ended up getting saved. They ended up living and thriving. So in a way, it's like she ended up like God used her to bring them to him.
Right.
So it is amazing. I look up to her in so many ways because I'm like, oh my gosh, who would do that out here? Who would do that? And I'm like, but that's what he would want us to do.
Right.
In every situation that we go through, we need to think about, what would Jesus do for real? Because he would not want us to hold bitterness to people. He would not want us to hate people. He's going to want us to love them.
Right.
He's going to want us to love them and forgive.
Yes, and God makes no mistakes.
That's
He
right.
puts
That's
you
right.
in the family of your lineage, for a reason.
For
And
a
you might
reason.
come in with generations and generations and generations of trauma, and you might experience horrific childhood traumas, but God put you there. for a reason.
And we can break it.
That's
We
right.
can.
We can break it. When
We
I
can
held my
break
little
it.
grandbaby this morning, her looking up at me, just smiling, I'm thinking, oh, baby, it's
Hey.
going to be broke.
Listen to this. You are who you are for a reason. You're part of an intricate plan. You're a precious and perfect, unique design called God's special woman or man. You look like you look for a reason. Our God made no mistake. He knit you together within the womb. You're just what he wanted to make. The parents you had were the ones he chose, and no matter how you may feel, they were custom designed with God's plan in mind, and they bear the master seal. Know that trauma you faced was not easy, and God wept that it hurt you so, but it was allowed to shape your heart so that into his likeness you'd grow. You are who you are for a reason. You've been formed by the master's rod. You are who you are, beloved, because there is a God.
That's
It's like
beautiful.
a
Beautiful.
Dr. Seuss
Thank you for
proverb.
sharing
There
that.
we go. All right, guys. Thank you all for joining us in, coming in for the second round.
Yeah.
Second round.
Second round.
Here we go.
Yes.
Hope y'all have a happy Saturday.
All right. I think they heard us.
I think they heard us on that one.